Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner, and I have a recurring guest, the one and only Chip Zdarsky. How are you, mate?
I'm doing all right yourself.
I'm very well, thank you, mate. I'm very well indeed. Now, the last time you were on the show, you were talking about your awesome Marvel event book, Devil's Reign. But now we're kind of shifting gears into not only have you been writing my favorite street level Marvel character, you're also writing my favorite street level DC character. And we're here to talk about your new book, Batman the Knight. What can you tell me about it, mate?
Um, it's funny because just the idea of like Batman being a street level character. He's kind of an
No,
everything character at this point.
Yeah, I
He's
guess
like
that's well point.
beating up muggers, punching Darkseid.
Yeah,
Uh,
right, yeah.
yeah, there's a Batman for everyone. This is a book that I was approached about when I was doing a title, Batman Urban Legends for DC, where it's like a Batman Red Hood story, which was
That
a
was
ton of fun
great,
to
by
do.
the way.
Oh,
That was
cool!
great.
Thanks.
Yeah, I talked to Matt Rosenberg about that because you were both
Oh
in the
yeah,
same
yeah,
book at the same time.
yeah.
I
We're in the
talked to
same
him.
trade too. It's like they made a trade just of like our two stories, which is
Right
really
on.
fun. Yeah.
And if people watching this, if they want to go check it out, you'll find that interview with Matt Rosenberg about that trade here at Forbidden Planet TV.
Awesome.
Sorry to interrupt, brother.
Yeah, no, it's all good. The working on that book was like kind of a dream come true because getting to write Batman, like like current day in continuity Batman, and Red Hood, and I worked really well with the editors there, and the main Batman editor Ben Abernathy was like, he's been toying with this idea for a while of doing a mini series about kind of the young Bruce Wayne leaving Gotham, traveling, training from the masters, because we've seen a lot of that in bits and pieces throughout kind of Batman history, but there hasn't been like a definitive volume of it. So that was the task, and what I kind of pitched back to him was like a 10-issue miniseries, which is I guess a maxi series at that point. Each issue is oversized, like because there's a lot to get to. And he hooked me up with the artist Carmine Di Giandomenico. I know I'm butchering his name. Who's a guy who's done a bunch of work for DC, and I'm like, oh, his work's pretty good, but then on this, it's just leveled up so much. Like I can't actually wait for people to see it. Like I've had issue 1 completed for a while, and every once in a while I'll sneak and show like another writer friend of mine. They're like, is this the same guy? Like he's just like Batman is clearly his thing, and he's yeah, he's just leveled up. It's just gorgeous work. It's us on the whole run, which is also really nice. Like being able to do a series where you're not like subbing in like 3 artists every
Of course,
4
yeah.
issues, because we've been working on it for a while. Like this is like a pre-pandemic kind of thing, and we've already got like 7 of them almost done, which is like kind of unheard of. Yeah. So we get it's a tricky one because I don't want to give too much away. There are new characters, and there are kind of old kind of masters that have been referenced before, but it's fun just kind of writing a dark, brooding young Bruce Wayne, just kind of figuring things out. And one of the cool things too is like in the main Batman book, James Tynion and Jorge Jimenez introduce Ghostmaker, which they've kind of weaved into his origins. And so I kind of took the ball and ran with it there. So there's a lot of like Bruce Ghostmaker stuff throughout this, where you kind of see them become friends, and they're kind of falling out over time. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm happy to do it with James Blessing.
I mean, that's great to hear, and it's great to hear you talk about it, mate. Because
Yeah.
for somebody who goes back, with Batman, with the Dark Knight, if you will, for a very long period of time, like I do, uh, the interesting thing I think about this period in like Bruce Wayne's life is until approximately 15 to 20 years ago, it was really not being covered at all. It's just been
Yeah.
alluded to and it's a massive storytelling opportunity. And I would say up to now, to you doing this, I think probably the best iteration of that period of time in his life is in Nolan's Batman Begins, right? Which is
Yeah.
a lot of the fabric of the film. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever been, even though there've been some good one-off stories and whatnot,
Mhm.
it's a very rich scene to explore. And the fact that they've given you that space, 10 issues to do it,
Yeah.
And no doubt a kick-ass collection at the end of that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and it's gorgeous. Like, it's funny 'cause, like, we kept trying to think of what are we gonna call this? I was just like, Batman Begins, and they're like, no, there's a movie, like that. Yeah, because like the movie picked up elements from the comics, and I picked up a couple kind of things from the movie, but for the most part, it's Scott Snyder and James Tynion did a lot of kind of backups over the years about kind of his adventures that we kind of have tapped into, and in Detective Comics there were a bunch of issues that kind of delved into that period as well. So I'm trying to like kind of respect the continuity of those while kind of adding to it and tweaking some things here and there to kind of create like a nice full cohesive story over the 10 issues. I'm pretty happy with it. Like issue 1's like maybe my favorite thing I've had written.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that, mate.
Yeah, because issue 1 is him in Gotham and kind of making the decision to leave. So you get to play a bit with like what does Gotham City actually mean to a young Bruce Wayne at that kind of stage in his life, and who are the friends around him, if any. You know, you get to write Alfred, which is always fun.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And what are the cast members appear in issue 1?
Well, yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, without spoiling it.
I'll say that Hugo Strange pops up.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Which is a lot of fun. Like I've loved the different versions of him over the years, and also as a fan of the video games, I quite enjoy him in the video game. So there's a bit of influence there for sure.
Yeah, I mean those games are amazingly well done, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very well put together. You know, my son is in his mid-20s now. He grew up playing those, and I'm not particularly a gamer. I'm a bit too old for that stuff. But the cutscenes in those videos in those games are amazing. You know, really brilliantly told stuff. You know.
Yeah, I'm right in the cusp of being too old for it. Like I'm at the age now where like if I have to do a thing more than 3 times, I just throw the controller away. I'm like, I've got things to do. I've got like a mortgage to pay. What am I doing? Yeah.
But Chip, when were you first introduced to Batman? When did you first encounter the character?
I mean, I don't remember the first time. Like there were comics that kind of like, you know, I'd pick up at the drugstore. There's a few I remember from kind of Jason Todd era. Like I have strong visual memories of Batman fighting a Batman with a goatee. And like I think Noctera, who Batman and Jason were both in love with, and I remember being surprised by it because as a kid I'd watched the Batman TV show, and then reading these books where Jason Todd was kind of a dick.
Kind of a dick, yeah. Those
and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I really like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's kind of that would be Gene Colan on the artwork, that kind of era, right? Don Newton, one of those guys, you know.
Yeah. And then,
but you're right, he's a jerk at that point.
Yeah, and like I remember I picked up like Death in the Family as it was coming out. And that blew my mind as well. And then so that was a point where I was really starting to get into it, like kind of when Tim Drake kind of becomes Robin. I was kind of all in at that point. But by then, I think my local comic shop had turned me on to Dark Knight Returns. So I was like, oh, wow, this is what comics can be? Like, you know, I'm 16 or whatever. Just kind of blew my mind. That Killing Joke and then Batman Year One, which is kind of like, at the time, I was like, oh, I'm a Dark Knight Returns guy. But now I'm a Batman Year One guy. Like, I think that's one of the best. One of the best comics ever produced.
1000% yes. Amen to that. I as a piece of work, I think it towers above 99% of anything that's ever been done. You know, with the big two's characters, it's such a great piece of work. Just the seamless integration of plot and artwork. The artwork's great, just so good.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Yeah. There will never be anyone who hit the scene and just produced such amazing stuff in such a short period of time and then took off.
That's the amazing.
That's amazing.
Thing, right?
Yeah. Like I mean, I followed his stuff after that, like Rubber Blanket, Asterios Polyp, but yeah, like those are. I mean, Born Again and Year One are just like the two seminal works. Like they're in the top 3 probably of like best comic stories of all time.
I completely agree, and I think in a way the comic book equivalent of this is an analogy I haven't had anybody else use, but it's one that I think a lot. So I'll road test it on
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
see if it makes any sense. I think it's like the comic book equivalent to watching a Wes Anderson movie, where you come away with these beautifully composed images that you are in your mind forever once you see them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that to me is part of what Mazzucchelli achieved both of those books. There's these images in both of them that I'll just remember forever and associate with those characters.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I have the IDW Mazzucchelli Born Again edition, and
Lovely.
every couple of months I just pull it out. If somebody's in my studio, I pull it out and I basically make them look at it. We go through, and like the progression, even over those few issues of him as an artist, is amazing to behold. And even like the lock screen on my phone. Let's see here. Oh, I can't even get the lock screen. Is a close up
Yes.
of Ben Urich, because like it's the
Yeah.
spirals in the eyes and like
Yeah.
the beads of sweat. Like it's a perfect drawing of a face. Like
Yeah.
it's just like he just nails it. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
wild.
I couldn't agree more. Hey, before we go, and we've been talking about Chip's new 10-part series, Batman the Knight, available from the links attached to this conversation for pre-order. And
Wow.
I know, right? I know. We just keep on delivering every time. It's like we're going to give you the means to talk about the book and buy it as well. You know, there we go.
Amazing.
Out of the goodness of our heart.
Yeah.
Who else in the DC universe would you like to work with moving forward?
As a creator or as a title?
I just meant in real life as a vigilante, but either one of those would do.
Um, I mean, in terms of like creators, I'm trying to think of people who are just so associated with DC, like Jim Lee. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be a dream come true. I'm trying to think of creators that are associated with DC on that level. Yeah, Jim Lee's probably the mark right there. But in terms of characters, it's a tricky one. Like, I just did a series called Justice League Last Ride, which is kind of like an out of continuity Justice League story where DC was like, yeah, just use whatever time periods. Just, I mean, have fun with it. So I kind of got to build like kind of the classic Justice League team, and I got to kind of write Superman and Wonder Woman and Flash and, you know, John Stewart, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. So that really checked off a lot of boxes at once. Like I kind of realized like doing Justice League is just like, oh yeah, like your bucket list. It's just like you hit like 5-6 things on the bucket list just by writing Justice League, you know. But I really like writing Superman. Kind of the same way I like writing Captain America over at Marvel whenever he pops up. Just because they're just kind of the ideal outlook about humanity within them, but there's still kind of a bit of a sadness there too, that I'm really drawn to.
Great, yeah, well said. I think that's a very interesting dynamic to be focused on. And you know, let's face it, even in the most joyful times, the eternal sadness of the human condition is always there. You know, and we wouldn't be human if we didn't feel it. And there's a beauty to that, I think.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
And on that note, on that beautiful note, this has been the one and only Chip Zdarsky. We've been talking about Batman the Knight, which is an incredible series, which just from the pages I've seen myself, I just can't wait to dig into. And you can pre-order it right here, right now. And
Stunning.
brother, we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks, man. Take it easy.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.